what happened today? We had a whole other plan.
Yeah.
And then you texted me this morning. It's like, you're going to want to watch this.
Yeah.
And I did. I jumped in it. We know it's new for you, JR. The beautiful thing, it's still, a lot of this is going to be new for me, too. I
can't wait to form my own opinion like everyone else listening. Get ready, y'all.
Exactly.
Here he goes.
Exactly. So I'm going to shut up and listen. Blossy, you have the floor, sir.
Oh man, yeah. So it's funny. This morning I was getting ready, and I actually had a really busy day. I had to get out and go over to Pensacola to do some work and stuff. So I'm in there. I'm showering, getting ready, and it literally like 8:05, 8:06, and I needed to be out the door about 7:45 was my goal, and I've already a few minutes late. But then suddenly, Bubba goes into, guys, when we come back from this segment, I've got something that you've heard before. You've heard the audio, but I finally found the video of this, and I really want to just dive into this a little bit more and talk about how important it is. And it's the sit-down interview that Hogan did in April of 2013 with Mike Calta, when him and Bubba had been 6 months since the sex tape had dropped, and him and Bubba were on the outs, and Hogan felt like he needed to get back on the air. So Bubba's still working for the Bone. He hadn't been fired yet. This is April 2013. And Calta had the afternoon show going still, right? And so he comes in on that show. So in order to set this deal up, let's just, but before we get into that interview, and the interview is what you saw, you watched some of that today, Brantley, where they talked, he was just breaking down the interview and what Hogan was doing and what Calta did and Calta's response. I mean, the interview itself, you could just stay in that 41-second conversation or whatever it was, like just listen to a small piece of that tells you so much. But I want to go to something else here. Let's back up to how we got here, right? So just kind of resetting some timelines and made me think about something I'd never thought about before today and kind of started diving into it. All right. So if we go back to September the 27th, 2012, that is when Mike Calta sent Tony Burton an email asking him anything yet. And he sent a response back. And then finally, that same day, like an hour later, he said, where is the Gawker deal? And he sent him Gawker's address. So they sent a correspondent email really quickly. He gets the address for Gawker so he can mail something to him. And obviously, right, that's why you get a mailing address. And then October 4th, 7 days later is when AJ Delirio, the publisher at Gawker, released that 2-minute excerpt of the sex tape of Hogan. Now, keep in mind, there's a 30-minute tape here in total, right? But this was just 2 minutes of sex tape. There's Hogan. It's out there, right? So then let's fast forward.
I hear you, boy.
Yeah.
They're 30
minutes.
Time out. It's and I've never known this.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
It's 30 minutes.
There's 30 minutes of total film there. Yep.
Total banging is what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's more than that. It's a lot of conversation. It keeps rolling. That's what really got Hogan in big trouble is the conversation, not as much the sex tape. The sex tape is what's famous, but the things he said that, he used some racial slurs there.
Yeah, I was
going to
say that.
And none of this came out to begin with.
That's where the N-word came into
Absolutely,
play.
yeah.
Okay.
And none of this came out then. Like what came out then was just a 2-minute sex tape. Boom, that's it. So now let's fast forward literally a week later. It was, so after that sex tape had been, had gone out, Hogan's attorney, David Houston, he received 2 correspondence within like a day or two apart. This is around October the 10th. So now we're 6 days away. And one was from, an attorney representing, what's his name? Peter Thiel. The guy,
Peter Thiel, yeah.
CEO PayPal, yep. So it's his attorney.
Kind of a big deal.
He's the guy that backed Hogan, and because he got so mad at Gawker, he hated Gawker so much, he funded Hogan's the whole lawsuit. He was like, "I'll pay for every bit of this. I want to see him go down." So he paid for all that. So that was what this phone call was about. It's when Charles, I think his name's Charles Harder, that called him, and said, "Hey, I want to assist you with this trial." So he gets that call, but then he also gets this cryptic email from good old buddy Keith Davidson. It says, subject Hulk Hogan tape. And it says, please call me regarding above. And that's all he said, right? So then he came in, they called him, And sure enough, Keith Davidson claimed that, he represented the parties that had the actual tape, and that what had been leaked to Gawker is just like a small little sample, and the real bad stuff would come later. And, basically
who is the
said,
Davidson guy? Let me interrupt.
Keith Davidson is the attorney, right, that actually helped broker the deal, he was trying to extort Hogan. So
but he's an attorney, though.
Yeah, he's an attorney, but he's the same guy that represented Stormy Daniels. All he does is go around and take people down. Somebody who's got a family or whatever, and he's a politician or high-ranking official in the city that's gay, he'll go figure out he's gay and then take him down and go, hey, you're going to pay me $2 million, or I'm going to tell your wife about this, right? So he's a real upstanding kind of guy. So
piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely was. So anyway, he shares this information, say, hey, I'm representing people, and he's representing, come to find out, is Matthew Lloyd, Spice Boy, and who works with Mike Calta, right? So that's his boy. So that's the one-arm reach. He's already sent the email. Calta's the one that asked for the address. Somebody shipped it. Now he's out there peddling this whole deal off. So I want to look at something here. Oh yeah. So anyway, so he starts the negotiations at $1 million, and they're like, okay, whatever. And then we move into December, right? So this is in October the 10th. December, they set up a sting operation with the FBI. Hogan, he reports it. I'm being, somebody's trying to extort me. They go to the Pearl Hotel, and this is in December of 2012. And during that operation, Keith Davidson was there along with Lori Burbage, who was representing Matthew Lloyd. This is all public record. This isn't just like hearsay or anything. This is all FBI. Yeah. There's even words. And
we've covered some of this in the past too.
Yes. And they had already negotiated an agreement, even had a written agreement out between two fake names just to keep everything hidden for $300,000. That was the number that they ended up landing on. That's how they got them to meet there to try to finish this deal. But the FBI was there. So while they're there, they ended up detaining them all. So they all get
$300,000.
It is a lot of work for $300,000. But they detain them all, and he admits that the Gawker sex tape from his client is just a pressure tactic. So he says that there's an audio from the FBI has it, him saying it if you read the transcripts, that was sent to Gawker as a teaser so they could really go after Hogan to really make some money. The whole thing was a work, right? The whole thing was a work to try to get to Hogan. So it comes right all the way back to them trying to get the money. Well, at the time, so this is in December. At the time, nobody knows. After they detain them, they arrest them, then they don't charge them. That's the bizarre part, right? So you've already proven extortion. Why they didn't charge them, I have no idea. Which that came up later in the Trump trial. Who does Keith Davidson actually work for now? Is he
right?
Is he paid for? Right? Is he paid for? Because they let him go. They had him dead to rights. So here's, to me, I'm going to go ahead and break down a timeline. So we hadn't even got to where Hogan in April sits down with Mike Calta. But see, I always thought that they tried to shop the tape. They couldn't shop the tape. Then they gave it to Calta, who then sent it to Gawker, and then Gawker published it just because they couldn't do anything with it. It had no value. Even Bubba kind of says that. But they sent it to Gawker before they even tried to shop it. So it's like a kind of a reverse deal. I missed that somewhere along the way. I thought it was a different order. And it kind of sounds like, even when I hear Bubba say it, that's what it sounds like. It's like they tried to shop it. They didn't do it. They didn't press charges. And then later on, it was after that fact is when actually Gawker got it. But the question is, how much did Gawker have to begin with? Did they have the entire tape? Because 2.5 years later is when the racist stuff drops. They held on to that forever. Somebody did.
Yeah.
I think the Inquirer actually dropped it, but the timeline on that was a little different than what I thought it was, and I find it very interesting. And it not only ties, to me, it only ties Mike Calta to sending it to Gawker, which is very obvious, but it also ties him to the first part of that, which was trying to broker that deal for the money, which he wasn't tied to directly. It was his little pawn, Matthew Lloyd, Spice Boy. Which we all kind of thought that, but but now he was involved even before that brokerage deal took place. He was involved early. It's back to September 27th, and this thing happened in December. So he was involved way early in the process. So I just found that very interesting just when you get there.
Yeah,
so
for
now
sure.
we fast forward to the real deal, which was that interview where the first time when Hogan went into Calta in April of 2013. He goes on Calta show. And so that's the one, that's what Bubba broke down this morning was that tape, because now it's actually a videotape and it's that, and he's talking about it. And it's interesting, you know, he starts off, JR. Have you seen this at all, JR?
Not yet.
No.
I've got it. You want to check it out? I got
Absolutely.
it ready.
Let's play that. Play that little excerpt. Yes.
Let's play. I don't know if it's the full excerpt. I mean,
Just
it is
one,
definitely the full excerpt, but it's going to probably be, this is going to be Bubba's response as well. Bubba kind of sets this up a little bit.
He does set it up.
I do believe.
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's just let it play.
But when you're facing the guy that you practically ruined his life, and you were posturing with your corporation to take my job based on my involvement in this tape, when at that time Cox Corporate had no idea that you actually had done it, I got to think that that's a lot of guilt and ready to short circuit in your little head at any time, that it's almost information overload. Here's what I found.
Everything I've heard, you know, you've had a plan.
Hold on, let me just reset. So let me just take these three parts. Hogan puts over Calta and actually has a dig on me. He goes, everything I've heard, you know, you've had a plan and you didn't have to do, but something hits the fan and you've stayed true to your game and you're a man's man. And so he's picking a shot at me because, you know, we obviously, Lummy had like, you know, poop hits the fan and various stunts and gimmicks. That's what we were noted for. He takes a shot at me. Calta melts down. And then Hogan goes on to say, it's nice to have a platform in Tampa radio to be able to talk on, because all of these years I've had that. Like almost he expects it. Like almost Hogan expects to have this platform, and he freaks out that he no longer has that platform, that he's willing to go do an interview with the guy that actually is behind it all, to be able to secure his ability to call in on an FM radio station. I mean, ad nauseum. He used to call in sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And Hogan is so full of himself and so narcissistic that he puts Cowhead over. He always hated Cowhead. Puts him over, has a dig on me, and then thanks him for potentially giving him an opportunity to have a radio platform in his hometown that he's had now for 20 plus years. I'm going to run it without any interruptions.
Everything I've heard, you know, you've had a plan all along, and you haven't had to throw crap against the fan to, you know, do gimmicks and stuff. You've been really consistent, you know, from the line you drew in the sand to be Cowhead and do your show a certain way. So you've been on point. So I said, man, it'd be great to find out, you know, if this guy's
response,
everything I've heard, and sit down and talk with him. And it'd really be great to have, you know, the radio voice in town, you know, like, you know, would be really consistent to be friends with a guy. So you've never actually crossed the line and did something that was, you know.
No, and that's the thing. I what do you consider? I mean, I might have crossed the line. No, I don't.
Look at this guy.
You and I can have as much as we want. I don't.
Now I can put a face with a name.
I'm good. We're not fighting. We're good.
No, we're good. I was excited about coming in today because I appear to be a breath of fresh air to be on the same page and
that's
a good, you know, open relationship with the radio station and everything. And, you know, all of a sudden I've got, you know, all this crazy stuff going on in town on a personal level with businesses, and all of a sudden I don't have this voice on the air, which was weird. Yeah, after so many years, so I thought
He made it.
That's great. That's so good.
He's just making sure he gets free advertisement for Hogan's Beach. I used to drive by it all the time over there in Clearwater. He just needed somewhere to get free advertised to pump his things up when he had, you know, ladies' night or whatever.
Oh yeah. Lord
have mercy. That was an awkward conversation. First off, Hogan twitchy. That is not world champion Hulk Hogan.
How about the fact? So here's where you got to realize Hogan's mindset was at the time. He knew that two things. He knew that the sex tape had dropped because he saw it happen in October. Then in December, he was there with the FBI sting operation. But what he didn't know is any of the players in the game. The FBI refused to tell him anybody. They called him Mr. X. Was Matthew Lloyd. So he had no idea that Calta was even in arm's reach distance. So now here he is in April hanging out with this dude on his show, trying to get some rub, not realizing that's the dude that actually sent the stuff to Gawker to begin with. And he's on this show right there, not even knowing this and giving digs to Bubba. So, Hogan's kind of innocent in that moment where he didn't have a dang clue. He just knows he's out there and all he knows is Bubba because nobody's saying a word. They're keeping it all hush hush.
Yeah, and then you think someone would have been arrested if they had all that intel at some point.
You would have thought.
So also, who took the tape to start with? Who set it up to get it to steal it? Did the cowhead guy send somebody to steal it initially, and they were going to try to profit off of it?
That is a great question because Matthew Lloyd, Spice Boy, used to work for Bubba. He left Bubba, and they had a big little ceremony. He's going to go do his own thing over at the Bone. I mean, over with, Calta, the deal over there, right? So he's leaving Bubba's show to go to his show, and he wished him well. And then, because he was going to get his own little deal on the side, and he wished him well. It was great. He took the tape when he left. He took the DVD when he left.
Where was the tape?
At Bubba's studio.
Yes.
What the fuck is he doing at the studio?
Well, that's another.
How did he know that the tape existed?
It was in Bubba's desk. It was in Bubba's desk.
Bubba, I know you're going to listen to this, and I'm not.
Yeah, it had Hogan written on it. It had Hogan written on the DVD.
These are not smart moves.
It was not smart.
If you're trying to hide it,
it's not smart.
It was a different world back then, too. People,
it was a different world. That to be fair,
but that was his personal whatever. Right, that's his personal DVD. Like,
and what do you think? I mean,
he was how mad he gets when somebody messes with the thermostat. I'm sure no one touched his shit in front of him. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not since then.
Spice Man might have snuck around when nobody wasn't looking.
But I could see a tape saying Hogan on it, and as much as Hogan was on the show back then, whatever. It could have been anything. But did it say Hogan's sex tape on it? Because I wouldn't put it past anybody on this just because everybody seems to be a little too damn honest.
I think it just said Hogan on it. I think it just said Hogan on the tape. So that's all. It's on the DVD. It just said Hogan on the DVD. But listen, let's talk about how guilty does Mike Calta feel where he gets so discombobulated, so completely just goes into a dang meltdown when he hears him say, when he looks at him and says, you know what, I know you would have never crossed the line with me. Because at that point, they didn't like each other because he was a Bubba guy and all this, and they'd had a little bit of beef already. Hogan never liked him to begin with, but now he's in there because he didn't have a voice. He's not on Bubba's show anymore because he didn't like Bubba, right?
Free advertisement.
So I got to get my voice back out here. I'm dang Hulk Hogan, So he's there and he says that. As soon as he says it, man, Calta just goes into I wrote it down. I actually tried to write there. You ready? Here's the transcript that I created. I'm sure I could have used AI, make it easier, but I didn't. I used just a pencil and pad here. All right. So he asked him, he was like, you and I may have a lot of whatever and something going on. He said, but I know you would never cross the line, Bubba's. And then Calta goes, no. And that's the thing. What do you consider? I mean, I might have crossed the line. No, I didn't. I could consider crossing the line. You and I could have as much beef as we want. I don't. I don't. All right, I'm good. Yeah,
that's
we're
what
not fighting.
Like.
I can assure you,
it's exactly the transcript. If you go back and listen to it,
AI could not transcribe that bumbling asshole morons.
How guilty did he feel knowing? Dude, no, actually, just 6 months ago, I'm the one that buried you. You don't even know it. It's what he's thinking is he's sitting there. Like, I didn't think we were going to go this deep.
So now he's getting overload, and he can't even. I can see that happening.
He probably thinks that Hogan knows.
Yeah, because he said you would have never crossed the line.
And is about to whip his ass.
So you don't want to whip my ass?
Yeah.
No, okay, good.
Are you asking me? Yeah. Or is that a setup? Wow.
I mean, at the end of the day, would you want any part of Hogan? Like if you're Mike Calta, like a physical altercation?
If you're anybody,
he'll whip your ass, dude.
Yes, dude.
And he's got some pretty big friends too.
Yeah, he does.
So they got the tape. They leaked a little bit, and then they were going to try to squeeze money from Hogan. The plan was never to bury Bubba. They just Bubba was just a bystander that got hit by the train coming off the tracks.
Well, he allowed the train to come into the station.
Right. Well, from the front end, and he owned the tape. But as far as the transaction and the trying to get money and even the people, I'm more talking about the people trying to sell the tape. Whoever had possession and was trying to extort Hogan to get money to not leak the rest of it, which I think they probably did exactly what they said. They leaked the first little nibble to bait up. So once the baited up, they thought he would go for that, and then tried to do it. Wouldn't last, let it die down, then flipped and sold found another buyer when they put it back on the market in Inquirer, I think you said. It was another.
Yeah, the Inquirer ended up releasing it. I don't know that anybody ever made a penny on this thing, right? So nobody but
somebody had the Inquirer.
Somebody
had to pay
made
somebody
something.
to get it. Oh yeah,
I don't. You know, it's funny.
Somebody made something.
Yeah, probably very nominal for what they were trying to shop it for to begin with. But at some point, it got leaked, and it came back. They thought Gawker did it because that tape came back out, and that was released in July 2015. It was a way down the road. So we're in 2012 when this thing drops in October, and here we are, July 2015. You know what I mean? So we're 3 years later before that component drops in there, and it's in the middle of this lawsuit that Hogan's got going with Gawker already. And then Gawker's like, whoa, we didn't do that. That's stupid. You know what I mean? But like, it's probably not. The Inquirer's the one that took responsibility, but they didn't give it to them. For what they were saying. They didn't. Here you go. Release that, which goes right back to
source.
Goes back to Calta. Goes back to Spice Boy Lloyd. You know, like it goes back to them being the ones that started this whole process. And yes, to answer your question, JR, there was more to gain than just the money. And the money is a side deal, but for Cowhead, it was to take down Bubba, and so he could get his job in the mornings. That's what the big money job is. He's got the afternoon job in the same station. So for him, it's a win-win. So that's why he probably doesn't really care. It's like, get some money out of the deal, and we're going to take Bubba down. That's probably why he involved himself. That's my opinion.
I didn't know that. I forgot that wrinkle.
You go from making, $100,000 a year, probably, or to $500,000 or $600,000 a year. You know, I mean, that's a big jump or something.
It's worth throwing somebody under a bus
that you don't like already to begin with.
If you roll that way, I don't roll that way. I couldn't do that. It's just like that's a bad karma comes back and bites you in the ass.
Oh, every time it does.
Hoping's going to start to happen now.
It should. I thought it was going to happen with the Erica deal. I really thought that was like. I watched that again today. I was just watching that video of him pushing her, and it's like how that happened. It's like, dude, I don't know how they think that's acceptable. You know what I mean? Like Travis Kelce gave not Travis, but Jason Kelce. Is it Jason?
Kelce.
Yeah, gave a way more serious apology to a person that deserved it way less than what Mike Calta gave to Erica. I was listening to that apology last night. It was like, he's just apologized for his behavior and he's to respond better. Even that guy came up at him, calling him,
yeah, you can't
names
do that.
And stuff. He grabbed his phone and slammed his phone. Well, she didn't even do that. She was just interviewing him. He asked her to interview him, and she's talking to him. And then his apology was so half-assed that next Monday morning. Oh, my God, I'm sorry. Some events happened over the weekend, and I was saying it is better. I'm a better person than I should be. So I just want to let you know I'll be better in the future and I'm going. Anyway, happy Monday morning. That was his apology. It was very, like he was reading a script. It's like very over the top reading a script. It's like, dude, he's not sorry for that. He's not sorry for his behavior.
No, not at all.
He's not a good person. You know what I mean? He's just not. Like,
he
not on any level.
He blocked us, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he blocked me too. I'm the only person that's blocked. The only person that's blocked me is him. So
yeah, he's the only person that I'm aware of that has blocked us as well.
But finishing that time,
him.
Yeah, I ain't worried about that dude, man. Whatever.
Not at all.
But to finishing that timeline off, though, it wasn't until September the 2nd, at 2000, I think it was 2014, that Bubba was finally let go at Cox. So it took a while, dude, before Bubba got fired. They just didn't renew his contract after that, and let him go or whatever. It was all due to this. It was just this slow work and this methodical breakdown and beatdown that they did. And then in July, like I said, that's when, that sex tape was, portion of it that was disseminated, that was shed a really negative light there on Hogan. So anyway, the interesting thing that I found was that this sex tape was, I thought it was shopped to begin with, and then it couldn't sell it. So then after it wasn't shopped, then right after that is when it was sent to Gawker. But it was sent to Gawker in the beginning, and that's the part that I missed somewhere along the way.
Yeah,
so it just shows Calta's involvement in both aspects of it 100%. Like, it's just no.
Well, that drives the price up. That drives the price up too.
Yeah, that's the teaser.
Because that proves to everybody it's there. Whoa, crap! Everybody's attention. Now let's let it build. Then yep.
It's so crazy that it just. This is kind of flown under the radar. There's still so much dust about it. It's just like a big old ruffle of, it looks like it Peanuts with the dusty dude. What's his name? What's his name?
Peanuts. Pigpen. Yes.
Yeah. When Pigpen comes in, blah, 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 that's what this whole situation reminds me.
Squiggly lines, little
squiggly lines. Like if they all walk into the room at the same time, there's Calta. He's Pigpen over there, just ready to stir shit up. And just as a dirty, filthy pig of an animal. And at the end of the day, is what you're saying, Blasey, he just wanted a promotion.
Man, he did.
And by any means necessary.
Dude,
by
y'all,
any means necessary.
What about when the presidential elections and all the elections are over and there's a lot more commercial space on television again? They start running in the Tampa area. A lot of some Bubba Army with some pockets go make some commercials explaining how he's a piece of crap and what he did and show pictures of him in the worst light and run some commercials and then like get a couple billboards downtown and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Put on a show to expose him. Basically, that's what's got to happen if somebody's being a dirtbag. They'll get exposed. It'll be now, or it'll be like 5-10 years from now. It'll be like a digging back into it, and turns out, oh yeah, and then he'll admit to it right before he croaks.
Look, I know there has to be a lot of Lamar Fine Sign Company headquartered here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I know they have to be everywhere out there. Hell, a billboard starting to dick on Calta would be amazing. It goes a long way in traffic.
It would be, wouldn't it? Like, just kind of fire the campaign up.
Well, like, if then a few people start thinking about it and they start Googling what happened, they're like, oh, his employee took the tape and that's where it came from. And then it helps. It actually helps everybody as far as ratings and
well,
views
what's
listens.
what's about to help that situation a little bit. I'm hoping, and I know Bubba's hoping. It's a documentary that's in the very, very, very near future. They're finalizing, like they're in the final process of this. Yeah, the whole Bubba and back to the Hogan deal. The whole deal is a big Hogan. I mean, it's a big Bubba documentary about this whole situation. Yeah, man. So hopefully, and I'm sure they will do it right. It's a heck of a story to tell, man, because it's just so many what. And so, like, how do you simplify it and put it into like small pieces that you can digest and understand? That's the hard part. Even me. Or not just me. I'm just saying, like, it took me this long to even realize that a sequence of order that I'd missed out on. Like, I just, you know what I mean? Just because it's very complex.
I mean, I don't know of anyone that has ever broken this down. This is how the whole thing started, with how we got introduced to Bubba and how Bubba found us, and why y'all are even hearing us right now.
That's true.
Is because of Blasey over a year ago. And his knowledge of this story. And, I mean, he's had over a year to do more research. It's always mind-blowing.
More of my intrigue than my knowledge. My knowledge was okay. My intrigue was just through the roof. Like that's
for sure.
Part. Yeah, so.
For sure. But today was a pivotal moment. Election day, as this is being recorded. A lot going on. And then Bubba throws this out. We had a whole other plan of what we were going to talk about. Had to do a just total 180, and here we are. It's unbelievable that I think we're getting closer and closer. And when that documentary comes out, what about the movie with Ben Affleck? I mean, that too. There's so many more layers to this onion to peel back. And as our good friend Bobby John says, always have an onion. Just to bring it back.
You can't trust nobody that got no onion.
You can't trust nobody if you ain't got an onion. There's a lot of layers to this onion.
There really is.
You do such a great job of doing that, Blasey. I'm sorry. I'm just got to give you props. You came prepared tonight.
No, I appreciate it. It was I worked on a little plan.
I'm still just trying to work it out in my head because, man, that is an intriguing story. And it's really sad on a lot of levels, and it all comes back to greed, like most things do. And it's just sad for everybody because the only people that are going to win when no matter what happens now is the lawyers. That's the only people that are going to make any money out of the deal. Everybody's going to lose money. Everybody's already lost sleep and time and friends and loved ones probably over it. And it's just a sad scenario, really. But I hope the truth comes out and they can get to the bottom of it, because the brass tacks about it is someone took someone else's personal belongings and went out to gain profit over those. And as far as I know, that's stealing.
It is stealing.
100%.
And they destroyed lives in order to try to.
That's what I'm
saying. To do this, and that's just like, man, that's just a damn shame.
It is
pitiful.
It is.
Well, I'm glad the story's getting talked about, and I'm looking forward to that documentary like you were talking about, because
me too, man.
Nice digestible way for everybody to get all the info.
Yeah.
But thanks for bringing us up to speed, because I'm glad I know that now. I'm gonna check in this week.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
It will be. I'm sure it will be.
Blasey, I wanted to know, do you have any more thoughts on that?
That's it. I think that's it. That's it. That kind of lays it all out there. I'm making sure I didn't miss anything. No, that's it. Yep, that's it. We got it.
Let's hit on something else that happened this week. Y'all get it. A full checking in with the BRN. That's what this episode's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
For sure. I don't know if you saw this. I know that you didn't, JR, but Blasey may have seen a little bit of it. But Gene mother effing Lasker, dude. He is
so awesome.
I didn't know who he was 6 months ago whenever he first started reappearing, whenever it was. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been recent. And good God, that guy it's like just a never-ending story from a childhood that was troubled, to say the least, to where we're at today. But is it becoming a thing now, Blasey? He's going to be on like basically every Friday.
Yeah, he rotates in. I think once a month at least. I know he's in there in that chair. Yeah, he comes in. So
God, I can't get enough of it.
I mean, just crazy. He's no different than some of these characters that I grew up with. I won't say no different. There's some unbelievable characters that I grew up with back where from. It's hard to how do you package it and set it into a studio? You know what I mean? He's got the ability to do that because he's got all that crazy stories, but can actually sit there and talk about it too. And he is something else, dude. It's great, least. Dude. It's so good. And did you there was that one part. What was that they were talking about this week? Last time he was on. Oh, with that cooler thing.
Yes. So Gene apparently invented a solar cooler because he's a race car driver.
Okay.
Yeah, he's dirt track race car driver. Yep. And all
sprint
of that.
Car legend down there in Florida. Yeah.
He is. He's a sprint car legend. Well, this is I don't remember how. I think it was like 2004 or something. It's probably like 20 years ago that this happened, and somehow or another he got on the news. Well, there's no somehow or another. It was this Walmart deal. Walmart had this nationwide thing that anybody who that you could apply, they were going to get you on the shelf, something like that. Whatever it was called.
It was like Make a Wish for an inventor for Walmart. That's basically what it was.
Yeah, it was Shark Tank before Shark Tank existed, is what it was.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And
love Shark Tank.
Whatever the product was that won was going to go out on the shelf and go in all the Walmarts and make a killing. This is what was going to happen. So they had this contest. He explains kind of the numbers and how many people, but Gene had made it to the end. Like they were in the final 10 with this solar cooler, and I've got a clip. I've got the clip. I'm not sure where this starts.
Is this the clip when he's on the television station or in the studio clip?
Yeah. I don't know if it's the full-on clip, but it's definitely them talking about it, and I think it's worth.
Okay.
I think it's worth.
So it's Bubba and them breaking it down too, right? Yeah. Let's just watch this, and then we'll fill in the blanks.
And there's some. I mean, they went for 20 minutes, so I don't know if I have.
This is great.
I think this is going to be I think this is a good starting point. Yeah. This kind of explains Gene kind of explains it here, and I've got timestamps for this. So yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Walmart had an invention.
The top invention product would Walmart would take it from you and let you put.
Walmart would distribute it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so Gene,
and that's what we were trying to do.
So this local dude who doesn't have the charisma that Gene does got Gene to be the face of this invention. And I knew it. So I called Lasker out on it. And that's why he was mad at me. I'm like, Gene, this isn't your invention. This is Brian or Fred's or whatever the guy's name is.
Name's Mark. But it was because, see, Mark was dealing with heated steering wheels. Okay? He invented some heated steering wheel covers.
He has invented 50 things.
Right. But he put
none of which have really made it.
I had the bag with something in it. And I hooked the battery up backwards, and then hooking the battery up backwards, it made cold. It didn't make heat. And it made the bag cold.
So you figured it out. That's cool.
And then I told him, I said, hey, man, that's let's make this, do this.
So anyway, listen. So Lasker's been on an outlaw mission for 2 days, and Mark calls him up and says,
you got to be at the radio station.
Hey, I got my invention booked on a couple TV stations, but I'm just, and Mark's not a real flashy guy, just kind of he doesn't have any charisma and don't even know that he could speak that well on TV. So he tells Lasker, hey, we're going to say that you invented it. It's your invention. You have so much charisma. People love you and you're full redneck hillbilly type deal. So you're going to be the face of it. And so I called, since I knew the Iggy on the deal, I just wanted to see how Lasker did. So here it is.
Here, and Gene, I know you because of the sprint car connection that you have. You're of sprint car fame in this area.
Because of me. I mean, at the end of the day, this guy's never been. He just listened to my show and knew that you were a sprint car guy. You would at least agree to that, right?
Yeah, but I had to win to be the sprint car guy.
I know that. But
okay.
He was familiar with you from my show. Here we go.
How did you come across this lunchbox idea?
Because of racing, I come across it. What I was trying to do is design me a cool suit, cheap. Cool suits are very expensive, and I was.
Lasker's completely lying.
It's the head. Yeah.
Oh my God! This is when we were telling he was going through his Edward Scissorhand phase. Yeah. Gene's gone through different phases, and so so listen, Gene will admit it now. He's first of all, look at him. He's either high. He's completely zooted out. He's been on the road riding a chopper for 2.5 days. He's completely zooted out.
Yeah.
And he's lying. I know when he's lying. I know when he's telling a tall tale. I've known the guy for 30 years. He's been on and off one of my best friends for 30 years. And I can tell when he's just shucking and jiving, bullshitting and lying. And Mark came up with this technology and didn't have the charisma to be on Channel 28. So Gene just starts making stuff up. Listen.
Cool suit. Cheap. Cool suits are very expensive, and I was messing around with some race car components that cool.
And Gene, so you completely lying right here, completely lying.
And gadgets on the race car, and I put one together, and I was going to sew them into my suit. And this is the original bag. This is my baby. It was just sitting there on the seat, and
which is a brand new bag that Mark just bought at Target 3 days ago. If you look at that bag, it has zero wear on it.
But you can see the bottom left-hand side right there where we already cut it out and sewed in.
You'd already customized.
How many drinks would that hold?
Like 4.
All right,
in the truck. I didn't want nothing to get messed up, so I unzipped the top. I threw it in there, and there were some Tootsie Rolls there, and
he always every part of Gene's pitch. I think he was on 2 different television stations. I think he might have been on 10 too. But he always used Tootsie Rolls. Like that's
because that happened, because I threw them in the bag, or they were sitting on my dashboard getting soft.
Gee, you don't got to sell us.
I threw them in the bag, and they went back to regular.
So I just threw them in the bag so no one see them. And those Tootsie Rolls were melting, right?
They were melting on the dash. Florida sun. I mean, I opened one up and had to eat it off the paper, and I put them in the bag. And a few hours later, I reached into one, and it was very cold.
How exactly does this work?
Very cold Tootsie Roll.
I mean, it just goes on from there.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, I want to see. I got to watch that guy just do the spiel now that I know it's a lie.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, yes, you have to go. It's one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen.
Oh, it's great, dude. Gene's
I think that was the 80s, but that was 2004.
It was 2004.
Still rocking that haircut.
Edward Scissorhand.
You call him Edward Scissorhand face. You know that's a redneck from Florida. Well, that's old Florida. That's the Florida I grew up loving right there, buddy.
Permed. It was permed out.
Permed, high tight, man, tan from riding that hog. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Unreal.
I love it.
I do too. I mean,
that's great.
That's so good.
I love how Bubba had to put himself over. The only reason he knew about him because of Bubba.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
No wonder Bubba and Hogan were friends.
Oh yeah.
They just try to put each other over and over each other all the time. I'm sure.
You know, it was me, brother. That's what was bringing him to the show.
Man, I mean, you can go on and on.
Who's going to play Bubba in the documentary is the biggest question I have. Jelly Roll?
Great question.
Oh, Jelly Roll could probably do a great job.
He's tall, though. How tall is Bubba? He's not that tall.
Bubba ain't tall.
I mean, let's not.
Well, it doesn't matter because a lot of times they have wrestlers that have short guys.
Bubba is not as Bubba and Jelly Roll. That ain't right. I got to stop y'all there.
I was talking about a big celebrity.
Right.
I just figured a big celebrity.
One time Bubba was big, dude. Bubba was about 500 pounds one time.
Yeah, I was just thinking about a non.
Yeah, he got monstrous. He had to have his girlfriend wipe his ass.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it got bad there for him for a minute. Yeah, it got out of control. Yeah, he pulled it way back in.
All right, okay. Well, I've never known Bubba to be like that, and that's okay. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, it
I
happens.
guess you got to have a towel when you get to that point. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's tough. Hey, girl, let's get on in here.
Wow.
If you don't mind, I got something for you.
Hey, I need some help in here.
hey, guys. Hey.
No, because I thought I saw something recently that was one of the big stars now, that's an action star now. I can't think of exactly which one it was, dressed up as Hogan, holding the belt in the yellow and gold on a social media post or something. And I don't know if that's part of that, or is there supposed to be a movie coming out, or is that just somebody wishful thinking?
I don't think anything's been filmed. I don't think we've seen it. I mean, I'm sure something has been filmed. Let me reel that back. We haven't seen anything that's been like they haven't given us. Not that I'm aware of. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
I think whoever directed The Wrestler should direct all wrestling movies. That guy did a good job with Wrestler.
A great job with wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling these days, too, is just like they got it. You know, they know what works.
Need to do it.
No.
They have their own
thing.
They
do enough stuff.
But everybody, outside people, like whoever did the movie The Wrestler, that was a well-done movie. That guy needs to direct wrestling movies. For the recent one, the Von Erich, the Iron Claw, I thought it was good. But think about that.
I haven't watched it.
Oh, really? It was great.
I hadn't seen it yet. It's good.
Oh man, it's great. Yeah, but it uses the characters though. They were playing Kevin Von Erich. You know, it was a big guy. Anyway, I thought it's funny how they do that. And then when they
big guy.
And then when they cast Incredible Hulk, they go CG, and I'm like, just get the biggest. There's guys that are 7 foot, 500-pound monsters, muscles. Get that guy to be the Incredible Hulk.
Yes.
It's weird how they cast
that's
people.
a rare breed.
I say all that to say that's why I mentioned Jelly Roll was just a big, hot person to cast. I was just thinking outside the box as a big guy, and I was thinking, well, he's tall. I was just thinking a bigger guy, that was really hot right now.
And I stand
with a big personality too, and a big personality. He could
that would do it great. Yeah,
fill those shoes. He's got energy too. You know what I mean?
Because who would be the standard issue actor that would play a guy like that? Kevin James. I mean, who are you gonna get to play Bubba? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Kevin James really dug deep.
I think he dug deep.
He could do it. That might be a really challenge role for him, but I think he could.
Sean Payton was not his role, but I think he could definitely do Bubba.
Yeah, I think he could.
That was the worst Sean Payton you could ever have. But I thought he did a good job. That movie wasn't terrible. To be fair, it wasn't terrible, but it was just like that.
You get to be Dr. Dan if they have if he's in the movie at all. Lacey, you get to play Dr. Dan.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sounds good.
It has to happen. If y'all are listening to this, if you see this, get on the mic.
Okay.
I'll be interested.
Y'all are listening to this. Posse, the one-man posse, just gave the greatest Dr. Dan impersonation. Y'all can watch this on YouTube as well next week. Y'all are here first at the Bubba Podcast Network exclusive, but it will be on YouTube next week. Love it. We just need to get you a gold mic over there.
Yeah, we do get it.
Like
gotta get the gold mic.
Hey, while I'm thinking about it, while it's fresh on my mind, Tiggy, what is the number that the Army needs to call and leave us voicemails so we can communicate and answer some questions and talk to those folks?
That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked. That number is 225-800-3058. That is 225-800-3058. Call us, leave us a voicemail. You never know. It may show up on the show. So,
Dude,
yeah, thanks for that.
Tigs Bits Hotline. I remember back in the day, we're on wrestling because it's the Hogan sex tape that's driving this conversation. Remember back in the day, they used to have the hotlines you could call in and talk to a wrestler per se or whatever. I remember they used to show those commercials. They'd have telethons and it was like this is back when you had to pay for long distance. I know people now, young folks don't know that, but there was a time when long distance deal was a big deal. And
for sure,
I mean, you had to get calling cards, and I mean, they could run it up, and you had to ask. It would say their thing was ask your parents' permission before you call, and you would call for two. You would think if you had a plan, like if I stay on for 45 seconds, not a minute, so they won't charge me. So you call, and then your parents are like, "Hey, what is this $4.99 or $2.99?" Call on the phone bill, and you're like, It says junkyard dog hotline. You call the junkyard dog. I was like, baby.
Dude, they had so many ways back then to scam money off.
I remember all those numbers in there. Yes, I remember that.
This is free, y'all. Call the Tigs Bits hotline.
It's totally free.
For entertainment purposes only. No,
that is
money
it.
Asking,
it goes
no scamming.
Look,
yes, nothing.
Full disclosure, Tiggy set up a Google Voice. It goes straight to a voicemail. That gives us a number.
And we can
That's
we can
all
all
there
check
is to it. Just leave us a voicemail. It's going to be fun. We've gotten a couple. And we want more. We know y'all are listening. Tell us if you love this show, if you like this kind of format of what we're doing for the Bubba exclusives. We kind of like it, think it's fun.
Yeah.
Or
if it's something you want to, and
if
it's something you want to chime in on the conversation, like if there's a point in one of the shows, if it's an old show, any of the shows, if there's a point and you were like you want to make a comment on it, just reference that, and we'll go back into it and toss it around.
Right,
I mean, hey, and just because there's three geniuses up here, we all get we are tend to let some stuff get through the cracks and slip every now and then. So we need to be fact checks.
Just every once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, especially music stuff. If you fact check me on music stuff or wrestling, I'll be a little like, ooh, I should be better than that, but I'll also never forget it, and I'll appreciate it in the long run. So, because I'm trying to be truthful, even if I spit out something that's not.
Amen.
True.
Yeah.
Amen.
Absolutely. And you know what?
Yeah, call in.
Please call in. And Tigs, I'll see you this weekend. We are heading down to Baton Rouge.
Yes, you will. By the time.
Yeah, I'm coming.
By
and
the time everybody is listening to this.
Yep.
His beautiful Dr. Dan looking ass should be at my house with his buddy, an Alabama fan.
And I'm coming.
JR.
Yes.
Who you bringing, JD? JD Lawrence? Legend.
That's it.
Legend.
See, we're open over here, JR. This isn't any kind of standoffish thing. Welcoming. Come on in. Let's have some fun. It's going to be a fun ball game. Elimination playoff game is what it's going to be.
I'm looking forward to that tailgate. That tailgate's where it's going to be. We're going to come in, get some of the tails from the tailgate going. Like I said, I'm coming and I'm bringing Hale with me. Hale's going to be my cameraman, you know. So
can I tell you a little bit about what's coming on to this tailgate, Lacey?
I mean,
while we're here at the end of this show.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
Though those of you out there listening that don't care, but go check out our stuff. We have a lot of stuff that comes from the Cajun Tiger tailgate. You don't have to be an LSU fan to appreciate what's coming from there because it's just pure insanity. That's what happens in Death Valley. This weekend, we're cooking 12 briskets and 20 racks of ribs.
Wow.
But that's just on the menu. We're cooking some of those at my house. We're cooking about half of those briskets at the house. They're already trimmed, stuffed. They're going to be more of a Cajun flair kind of brisket. Whatever, they're going to be fantastic is what they're going to be.
I'll bet.
But we have 24 of LSU's players' parents. We're going to be the host for them this weekend, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah,
that's going to be a lot of fun. And then
see the full experience, what their money's going.
Exactly. And they're going to have a party at the Cajun Tiger tailgate.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have Bocock cigars that are going to be there
Oh,
as well.
I saw that.
Grab
me a few of those, Blasey, on the way back.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck
Havana. Yeah. Yes. We'll get you one. Now, I don't know if you're going to want one. Honestly, I think they're going to be in effigy of Alabama, but
that's fine.
I mean, they're
I'll smoke it
still
at some point.
Hey, you win, you want that.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm good either way, man. I don't even care anymore. I'd love a nice cigar.
We've kind of gotten to the age of where it's just fun to play the game, and
well,
you're going to beat us a bunch, and we're going to beat you a bunch for the rest of our lives. So let's
it's
just
going to
have
be
fun
back
with
and
it.
forth like everything, just to distract everybody, especially now with all the money. I mean, it's just like everybody's swapping. There's no watching a player stay for years and do this and do that. It's crazy. Basketball, I just noticed Mark Sears from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, is coming back as a senior. And Alabama's number 2 in the country in basketball. That's shocking.
I mean,
but even with that,
that's crazy.
I know. But even with that, I'm just not as about sports as I used to be. I love them, loved playing them and all that. It's just a weird spot in my life.
Dude.
And the NIL thing with players leaving for money and so much. Even the players just bouncing around like they do. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's a whole other show. We'll get into that. But yes, Blasey's coming to Tigs' house again. No telling what'll happen. We're gonna get a ton of content. It's gonna be a blast this weekend. So y'all be on the lookout.
Got some ideas.
Don't you know that stadium's gonna be
lit?
Don't you know that stadium's gonna be lit Saturday night?
It's gonna be
crazy.
Insanity,
Is it gonna be clubs? Is it gonna be clubbing
it's
up
gonna
in
be
there?
clubbing. Oh yeah, they're gonna club it.
See, I'm gonna stay get the tailgate. JD's like, I got tickets. I was like, I don't want to go in there. I'm spoiled to going to Troy games. I sit like this. You know what I mean? At those games, I'm nothing against it, but that's a packed game. At Troy, we get to walk around and hang out.
Absolutely,
you're gonna have so much fun at the tailgate. All that we have 6 TVs now, I do believe, is what he told me. They bought more. This is gonna be the wildest tailgate maybe that we've ever had.
Beautiful.
And my boy Darren is staying out. He sold his tickets because he's like, I'm gonna make my money.
I don't blame him.
He sold his tickets. He's going to be out there with you, so you will be with Darren. You're going to be getting interviews as the game goes on, and I mean, this is going to be incredible. This will be a masterpiece.
It's going to be huge.
Tales from it's going to be huge. It's going to be big. It's going to be the biggest ever.
Guys, it's going to be huge.
It doesn't even matter about the game. None of that. Actually, the game doesn't matter. Everything else is going to be insane. Yes. And by the way, a potential tropical storm in the Gulf coming just to add a little spice.
Oh, it's barreling right to us.
Add a little spice.
Right to us.
It's humid outside right now in my house.
I know
the Gulf breeze is humid right now. It's thick.
It's so humid.
The Gulf was angry today too. When I went to Perdido Key today and noticed. I said, "Man, it's coming."
Oh yeah,
wow.
It's coming.
That's gonna be fun,
it's gonna
guys.
be windy.
Shit.
It's gonna be windy. It's gonna be fun. I wish you could come, JR.
I know. It's gonna be awesome.
The shear's gonna knock it out.
Yeah, I got my last show of the year this Saturday, so I'll be in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Wow, you get the rest of the year off, huh?
Yep, I'm off till January. Got a show in end of January. Well, I'm off from that job. I've got a couple others.
Oh, I know that. I get that.
We know that.
But I am going to take a break.
That's good news for the podcast world.
It is.
For sure. Well, and next week, I'll be coming from. I'm hoping I'll be able to join you guys from Key West. Let's be going down there to Shark Key next Tuesday for about a week. So hopefully we'll find a time when I can try to jump on with you guys while we're
that'd be great. That'd be fantastic.
Yes, it will.
And have fun, dude. I'm jealous of that.
Yep, man. That'll be a good run.
It will.
Boys, that was a good show.
Fun. That was fun stuff.
That was fun.
It was.
Oh yeah, it was great. I'm glad to know all that stuff because I'm going to have some more time to listen to the radio and listen to my podcasts and stuff. And I've watched the Bubba clips on social media and stuff. And I just don't catch them all. It's just the ones I do, and it's interesting, but it's more in context when you know the whole show and what's going on during it. So I look forward to looking at it. But thanks for catching me up on that. And I wish I could be with you guys, but y'all make sure to take a lot of pictures and get a lot of videos of folks and do all the fun stuff while y'all are there.
It's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. So
and get JD, get some camera time on JD like early. Like
that's happening. He may be the only Alabama person that I interview, or at least I can tell you that it's going to be a home crowd. But that's why we have Blasey to give the other point of view, maybe some this week, because it ain't coming from Tiggy. Not
maybe
this one.
You should break. You should get. Does he? If he doesn't know the Bubba stuff, you should tell him what you told us, Blasey, and then get his reaction coming from a lawyer standpoint on what he thinks each lawyer was up to and where he think the twist.
Oh
came from.
Maybe and lay out the case and let's get his whole.
Say, well, how would if someone were to come to him?
We may have our own
would
whiskey and wine post game.
Oh yeah,
there you go. Yeah,
Judge Lawrence,
and do it.
Judge Lawrence.
We'll enshrine him as a judge.
Judge Lawrence.
He's just an election away from being one, right? In the experience that he has, and you know what I mean, right? Judge Lawrence.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
We know a couple if you need to call one too. But we could ask him how would somebody approach you and what would be your obligations? I mean, you'd have to be we
may have to present like an argument. Maybe we actually set up a court case at your house and like you become like the prosecutor, I'm the defense or something. I'm defending Bubba, you're representing
brother. If we do that post game, there's no way I can do that.
We don't have to do it post game. We're gonna be there a couple of nights.
We'll do it Friday night.
Yeah.
Do it before the game. Yeah.
That's gonna have to happen before the game. Post game ain't happening.
Oh
no way. No, win or lose on Tiggy. I love it.
I
love it. Yeah. Something. It is, and y'all are going to see something from this weekend next week. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, well, we barely talked about food, but I'm going to tell y'all I smoked a couple of pounds of Butcher Box wings on my Traeger with some Hefe seasoning on them before
hell yeah.
I did this podcast. Yeah. So y'all get real good and hungry because I am, and I'm about to go crunch them suckers here in just a minute.
You damn right you are. You damn right you are.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with that, we'll see y'all
later.